Hello everyone, I'm Sidival, and today we continue reading World and Economica. Um, Sorry for delay. Mm, I make two mistakes when I start stream. Well, actually three, but one not really important. But yeah, I firstly forgot to press go live uh, when I start stream on YouTube, and then when I'm noticed and press it, I'm just open another tab. If for some reason it just didn't actually go live until I opened um tab with YouTube Studio again with the stream. So yeah, and then usual waiting because I need Discord bot to post about new stream, and then I also need to start Twitch stream because I can start it both streams in same time because for some reason Discord noticed Twitch stream much faster, and I prefer for both actually post link on YouTube and not on Discord. Anyway, so let's load. So in previous episode we get to see a new character, Chris, which apparently a girl and pupil of Hagana or student. I'm sorry, don't know difference between student and pupil. Anyway, so yeah, but well, they also make some cookies, Hal and Lisa, but most important what was in previous part, Hal actually figure out what Science Hagana are really good at math. She actually can help him with stock market and making money. Well, it's kinda not sure if it's apparent how it's thinking about it's like if she can help or if he just want to use her for helping, because I mean it's just not really apparent because we seem Haru both as kinda not really nice person, but he's also not a bad person, so who's know. Um, it just I don't know. So anyway, I'm personally really interesting what we're gonna see. Next, like I really want to see conversation between Haru and Hagana, and if they gonna start work together. And there is chances what they actually gonna talk about it, since now they going together in the shop, and yeah, so they can start. Haru can start conversation about it, but who knows? But okay, let's start reading. Yeah, let's start from here. It's a little what was in previous stream, but I still think like it's better to start. So It's 5. Startled by a voice, I sprang up. Hagana was standing outside the door. It's already 5. Why aren't you going? She had stated it quite bluntly. With that, I finally remember what happened in the morning. Oh, yeah. Perhaps I was tired, or perhaps I was panicking, but my voice was coarse, and I couldn't quite speak clearly. I had I had immersed myself pondering out a new way of training with Hagana working on financial engineering. Furthermore, since I actually had no clue about math, it was quite tiring. Hagana's brows conveyed a doubtful look, but she didn't really ask me anything. I hurriedly got ready. Out of caution, I placed my computer into my bag and essentially took all of my life possessions with me as I left my room. Hagana had her usual black attire and her black bag, giving off a grim atmosphere, as if she were attending a funeral. Not just black clothing, but a black bag. An orange bag wouldn't have worked with these clothes. Hmm. Okay, I don't really understand anything if in mod, uh, fashion, but I personally think it's can work. It just you need something else besides orange bag. Mm. But anyway, it's not important. Um, wow, look like you do have a sense of aesthetics. Kagana, who was further down the hall, turned around with a big frown. Of course, unlike you, Brad. When we first met, she kept calling me smelly, and this morning she said I wore rags. Don't someone as cheeky as her needs some spanking. Okay. Hey, you called me Brad again. Huh? I'm telling Lisa. Okay. Hagan apparently totally yielded to Lisa. To be honest, it wasn't even at the level of childish quarreling, but Hagan stood motionless as if she had made a big mistake. I walked past her, feeling all smug. Mm, okay. I mean, they both kinda still child. Uh, at that instant, Hagana's hand grabbed my hem. Please, don't tell Lisa. She looked like she was about to cry at any moment now. Hmm. Is it about what she before has problems since he talking uh, badly to loan collector? Anyway, I couldn't keep up with my racing thoughts. A girl about the same age as me had thin, downcast eyebrows and tightened her lips to the point of quivering. Furthermore, her slender hand grasped onto my hem as if it were a lifeline. In that situation, there wasn't much you could do, and if you had done lots of weight training. I had forgotten I was dealing with Hagana, and tried for the life of me to find the proper words. In that regard, my memories were flashing by me, as if I were on the verge of death. I heard that this happened to people who were on the verge of death because it was something to allow the person to find possible routes of salvation from past memories. And what I finally remember was something terribly simple. I won't. Really? Hagana was looking at me, almost uh, cle- uh, too much. Okay, just don't pronounce a middle G. You're stupid. Anyway, Hagana was looking at me almost cleanly, with obtuse eyes. This was the face she had when I was about to spill the beans about the incident with Tayama. I guess she wanted to keep up appearances with Lisa, even more than I had imagined. After I noticed she stared at me for a while before finally letting go. Well, what is it? Hagana flung a totally unintelligible question at me, after slowly returning at her normal poker face itself. What? I'm asking you, what is it? Sorry. I'm asking you what it is. Her brows were showing signs of frustration. While I'm being shocked at this utter transformation, I eventually asked back, totally not understanding the meaning of her words. Well, what are you talking about? I don't understand. I really didn't understand. Thus, I couldn't help but feel hesitant at the unreasonable Hagana, who had possessed me an unintelligible question while looking at me with frustration when I wasn't able to answer. I also don't really understand your question. Anyway. However, Hagana's behavior was also kind of strange. And then the reason for this came to light. While being frustrated, she finally turned her eyes away and responded painfully. Your name. Okay. I somehow managed to hold in my laughter, but I did end up spitting out some air lightly. Hagana looked at me with scorn in response, as if I were some rude person. However, her tightly sealed lips made it obvious even to me that she was trying to hold in her embarrassment. While licking some air between my teeth, I replied, Kawaura Yoshiharu. I don't remember it being that long. Are you making fun of me? Hagana's glaring eyes were saying that to me, but I simply accepted that and replied, Oh yeah, that's my real name. Hal was the name that Lisa gave to me. Hagana looked at me, totally shocked. Your real name? Are you an idiot? Those words simply flowed out of her mouth. You also ran away from home, so it's not like you'd go report me, right? Hagana might be strange, but she fully understood the meaning of a runaway youth letting someone know their real name. She was definitely intelligent, and she wasn't lacking common sense. Is she? Yeah. But there was no need to tell me that. Huh? A reason? But, well, there was that. What? Hagana had no expression on her face, but she was almost asking me angrily. This time I was a bit bashful when answering. I've never been called by a nickname before. Huh? Around me were a lot of rowdy people older than me, so they simply called me by my first name. I also didn't really go to school, and besides nicknames were kind of matter of fact, so I didn't like them. They made me feel kind of funny or something. So I guess he don't really had friends before. There was a strange feeling I couldn't quite name when Lisa called me Hal. It was definitely not a bad sensation. However, in the current situation, it didn't feel quite right. Being called flippant or being called a nickname by some woman amounted to being a coward. So if you were going to call me something, then Kawaura would be kind of bad. You could just call me by my first name. Well, if that annoying lady weren't around, you could just call me Brad, or Hey you, and I wouldn't mind. With my lighting proclamation, Hagana looked down and pondered my words. She looked like a kid who who had been tricked too many times. A skeptical girl in black clothing. The notion that it was clothing appropriate for something like a funeral poured back into my head. Or perhaps it was the clothes she had on her when she was sold. So, well, can I just call you Hagana? She nodded to my question. After nodding, she opened her mouth to try to say something. Hmm? I didn't catch that she said and asked her, but she returned to her senses quickly and shut her mouth. And then she had an icy expression on her face, as if she overly cleansed all emotion from herself, then turned her cheek toward me. In front of me was a side profile, a barrier that would reflect back any words hurled at it, but possessed solely by females with tough personalities. We should get going with the clothes shopping. She uttered those words robotically and started walking out. The speed of her change in expression and behavior left me dumbfounded. And then, a few steps ahead of me, she apparently noticed that I wasn't following her. She spun around like a well-made toy. What are you doing? Are you coming? Are you an idiot? I replied tiredly with, yeah, and started walking. Perhaps she wasn't satisfied with that response, because she lifted an eyebrow. But in the end, she didn't say anything and turned around, walking forward silently. Lisa, who had been cleaning out the church, looked at us walking at a distance from each other and said, "Have a safe trip," with a bright smile. The rain had already let up. The carved out limestone cliffs and the winding narrow streets, drenched with water, were sparkling under a simulated sunset. Hmm. Normally, I'd be exploiting the low gravity and taking flying leaps from wall to rooftop, and vice versa, but Haga wasn't cut out for it. Of course, it wasn't that she was a girl. There were sports programs where a bunch of girls uh, with bodies as flexible as felines would run through very complicated terrain, as if they were ninja warriors. However, these activities just didn't fit Hagana. It would be more fitting for her to be scratching up her eyebrows and sipping tea outside of the boisterous and sweet-filled stadium. And so we were currently walking towards the shopping center, uh, supposedly located on the second block, and Hagana would look back at me occasionally. It wasn't that she was carrying a torch for me or anything like that. It was just too much for me to be able to walk alongside a girl, so I kept a bit of distance. And as we were walking slowly through the streets, there were a lot of things I wanted to see. Hmm. Therefore, I could understand Hagana's irritation, seeing as I had trailed behind so many times. At any rate, there wasn't a thing in this world that you couldn't attach a price tag to, and therefore the streets were a treasure trove of information to me. Hmm, interesting. It's because as long as something could be sold, so someone would be earning a profit on it, that I wanted to know was who in this case. For example, I myself couldn't make money by going into the building materials businesses, selling materials and working on constructions. However, I could invest in a company that did that and be able to share in the profits. I could do this via stock investments. If I could earn money without having to pour hours of my own sweat into it, then wouldn't that be the proper things to do? I had less respect for those who worked the soil and grew vegetables like my parents, and more for those who bought the crops from my parents and sold them at a profit. But just investing in the latter part, I could even save myself the work of doing the actual reselling. By glimpsing at the houses along the street, The building materials and doors, the toys hanging from the window frames, and the furniture and the electronics that could be seen, I could determine what people in the income bracket care about and that was currently popular. What people passing by wore, the terminals they had with them, and what stores they went into. There, if there were indeed the 4,000 or so companies trading on the stocks exchange, one would definitely be able to see a product from at least one of the companies everywhere you went. The seeds to money making lay all over the place, and I was merely peeling back the fruit to get at the seed. And this method was the fastest and best way to get rich, or should have been. Right now, my confidence was wavering to whether this was really the best way. As a result, I thought up getting Hagana to learn financial engineering and then leveraging her power. But was it really possible? First, would Hagana be able to understand financial engineering? And second, would Hagana simply help me out? We're here. Hagana stopped and said those words to me. Hmm. Actually, I believe it's new ground. Hmm. I mean, nice view. Anyway, we had walked along a street giant between buildings 6 to 7 stories high, which felt like they could fall over any moment and block our way, and went up crude steps. Hmm. Not first time, I kind of feeling like texts don't really um, matches the image on background. Like these buildings don't really seems like they in wet conditions. Mm, but anyway, mm, um, um, mhm. We had passed a woman with their shopping bags full of ingredients and students with slightly warm sausages in their mouths. Hagan was standing at the top of the steps. There, beyond the rusty iron handrails, extended a street lined with shops doing their very best to show off their tidiness. This was supposedly the second block shopping center. The street extended outwards, flanked by buildings on either side, and the flow of people appeared like a small river sandwiched between the run-down commercial buildings. The incoming foot traffic was stopped up by the steps beneath my feet. Seeing this, I realized where I stood was a vestige from days past during the expansion of our lunar city. Originally, this place was the edge of the city. This elevated area was the foundation for a dome that covered the sky, programmed to act out the effects of day and night. Hmm. Hmm? Hmm. And did it mean like then they make another dome a bigger one later on? Or how do I say? Don't understand how it can be foundation. Anyway, currently the edge of the dome was much further away, and leaves like this were obviated by advances in technology. Hmm. I mean, it's kind of interesting how they can just mm, I mean, it's not really explaining how they uh, move edges of dome. Um, just kind of seems a little strange. Building was one and then another. At least sensing on the moon. But who's knows? Anyway. However, precisely because this was ancient, actually studying here gave me a literally awesome view. I wasn't sure whether it was made of concrete or carved out of lunar terrain, but there was definitely something like a leaf extending to my left and right. Maybe. Wait, what is this for? Levy. Okay. Something like a levy extending to my left and right. It was immediately swallowed up by a myriad of buildings, so I couldn't follow it for very far. But I was able to see a piece of lunar history there. What? Agana looked at me with a puzzled face. It looked like scratching up her brows was her instinctive response to anything puzzling. I looked up and explained it to her. This is a vestige of where the ceiling dome used to be. Agana looked up at the sky and fixed her eyes on the faint seams of the dome. You're kidding. I'm not lying. When I was around 8 or something, there was a project to build an bigger dome over the small dome. Okay, so they explain how it was done. Interesting. Is that really true? Agana looked at me doubtfully. I shrugged and replied, I wouldn't lie about something you could simply look up and figure out it instantly. Agana drew her chin in a bit and nodded, seeing the reason in my reply. And thus, I remember even now that the moon used to have 2 layers of sky. I looked up at the sky as I was talking and noticed Hagana looking at me. Finally, Hagana looked up at the sky herself and muttered, Wow. It was just one word, but the briefly indicated the brevity indicated the strength of the thought behind it. I was excited, as if she were giving me a compliment. I know, because I was born on the moon. I don't really know much about the Earth, but I know most of the stuff about the moon. Born on the moon? Oh, I didn't tell you. I was born then. The first wave of the first immigrant group arrived in the city. I'm about the same age as the city. Agana looked like she was truly quite surprised, and I felt a little pride in myself. However, the surprise from her face eventually disappeared, and she returned to her normal poker face and said, Well, it takes many years for a city to be built, and so you can't be of the same age. Well, the time it takes for a human to be created isn't counted in the age, right? I guess you're right. For a second I thought I had surprised her again, but Hagana nodded as if she understood some profound truth. Well, looking up at this again once in a while, I do wonder at the amount of effort put in to create this. As I talked, I squinted at the dome that made up the sky on the lunar surface. As one of the top public works projects in the history of the lunar surface, it involved over the 1000 different enterprises. However, whenever I looked up at the dome and signed, it wasn't about the technologies that made this dome possible, but something easier to understand. The infrastructure of the city was supported by Emerald Industries, and its related companies supposedly made up 40% of the participants in that project. And its 24 billion moon profit that year made the record for the highest annual gain to this day. Of course, on Earth there were many conglomerates whose annual earnings exceeded this ghastly amount due to the vastness in history and scope of the planet. However, on the moon, this was a record that was off the chart. There were anti-monopoly laws to prevent the breakdown of competition, and people said that if those laws weren't there, the sea of tranquility would be already had Emerald Industries logo engraved on it. Hmm. A 24 billion mule price tag, but enough to make anyone faint just thinking about it. For people working in the shops along the second block of the 6th outer section, hourly wages most likely ranged between 5 and 7 mules. Let's say they made 80 mules working 10 hours a day, working 30 days non-stop in the month, resulting in 2,400 mules. A year will be 21,800 mules. Working from the age of 20 until the age of 60 would be a bit over 1 million mules. Rent and living expenses were rather high on the moon, and therefore living with just those earnings was difficult. I think you were mad if you were to say that living from meal to meal was fun. You wouldn't be able to enjoy the various entertainment options in the White Belt and Newton City, and if you were from the Earth, you wouldn't even be able to afford to go back. To live a life where the things you couldn't do vastly outnumber the things you could do would make life meaningless, in my opinion. I mean, I kind of feel it's usual life for like majority of people. Anyway, to tell this balance, one would need power or money. And using money and power, Emerald Industries left a mark where entity, no entity has left a mark before in the history of the moon. There's something in the sky. I came to quickly upon hearing Hagan's words. Nah, I was just thinking a bit about an existence above the clouds. Of course, being born on the moon, I had never seen real clouds before, but I knew about them through videos and stories. Thus, I felt that this expression was quite suitable. Haganov, who definitely wouldn't know about Emerald Industries, looked questioningly at the sky and then stared at me with surprise. You believe in God? Haha. You mean like the lizards talk about? A Lord who lives in the kingdom of heaven. People on earth believe that the afterlife existed beyond the heavens. Certainly, to people invested in making money, the moon was probably heaven. But in this era, there probably weren't many people who would use that word to mean anything other than a happy place. It's like people starting to not think of actual difficult to use and outdated books when the word book was mentioned. Something like God can't exist, right? In response, Kagana never agreed with nor refuted my statement, and she merely stared at me. She had the normal expression face. Sorry. She had the normal expressionless face, but looked a lot more serious than usual. I was beginning to wonder if she had gotten mad at me for speaking like I was ridiculing Lisa, but Haga eventually closed her eyes slowly. And then, like a proud stray cat, she drew her face to the side, avoiding my gaze. I just think so too. I was about to tease her by mentioning how it was quite rare for her to agree with me, but in the end I kept my mouth shut. It was because that side profile looked terribly sad. Looking at her visage, I ended up remembering that Lisa had said. Lisa had wondered if perhaps Hannah been bought with money. A girl who might have a past like that, agreeing sadly that God didn't exist, left a very deep impact. Uncomfortable at the silence, I varied the situation back towards talking. So, what was it like, the place you're from? Eh? Weren't you born on Earth? What was the sky like? Was it something that when you studied at it, would make you wonder if God lived there. Since Hagana apparently hidden her origin from Evan Lisa, she probably wouldn't tell me anything related to where she was from. Thinking about that made me kind of want to ask. I really didn't have any knowledge of our when through footage, and I had never asked anyone what the sky was like. Surprisingly, Hagan replied while looking up at the sky. It looked kind of like what it does here. You mean like the moon? Yes. There were lots of mountains and many cliffs. The trees had a ton of pricky things, what would prick you if you touched them. Winter was cold and summer was short. There was a lot of fog, a great place. And if I hadn't visited Earth, I had route image of Earth geography. Cold winters would point to the northern hemisphere, and a place where uh, conifers grew had to be quite a height in latitude. But as she continued speaking, Hagan squinted and tried to peer through the dome at the spot where the Earth stood. Sometimes it would clear up, and the sky were very blue. The looseness of everything would only shine during those moments. It probably wasn't a bad lie to say that this was something created by God. At the end, Hagar added something surprisingly thoughtful. However, from that on, I didn't think that her days were always happy where she grew up. There might be proud folks back home who would be able to guess where she came from. However, I still couldn't fathom a sky so blue that it would make someone wonder if it was created by God. A blue sky wouldn't just be the dome covering a lunar city, created scientifically. However, there wouldn't be one person who would look at that and think without a doubt that this was created by God. And who's compared to Earth, the moon probably didn't have much of a sky. Hearing the falls from Earth, priding themselves on where they came from would barely irritate me. But all that Haganah had said led me to want to take a look for myself. While pondering whose things, I looked up at the dome with Haganah. Instead of talking about this, let's go get this clothes. Shopping done already. Haganah, however, looked back down and spoke to me officiously. For me, who had felt a bizarre closeness to Haganah, it felt like being suddenly pulled out of a dream. Ah, yeah. So, which store should we go? Should we go to? Trust me with the usual cold guess. Before I answer, why would you think I know the answer? Then you instantly find there whose flowers would be. So why wouldn't you be able to find a clothing store? Isn't this obvious? Are you an idiot? That's what your forehead eyebrow were saying to me. Going beyond anger. I don't know, moment. I know what I always pronounce this word incorrectly. Anger. 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 I can't really pronounce it. Like, I know what I have strong accent, but of words like this, it's when I really feel it. Going beyond anger, I replied contemptuously. Oh, it is as you have to eloquently priced. However, a trifling small matter that still remains. Why must I toil and seek out wonderful garments for your highness? Perhaps you could care for enlightening me of this matter. I have no idea what you just said. She returned my sarcasm with a cold tone and astonished expression. Please repeat it. And with this, sorry. and with that single price, I ended up have to acquire. I feel like today a lot of words that I don't know. Yes, okay. I ended up have to acquiesce, being at lost for words. Hagana was staring at me as if there were some bizarre person in front of her. Lisa, Hagana, there sure were a ton of annoying women around here. Alright, I got it. You're so annoying, she's. You got it? What did you get? I really got angry, but even I knew how embarrassing it was to yell at a girl in the middle of the street. I swallowed my words and Hagana looked at me with even more suspicious eyes. Ignoring Hagana, I took out the computer from my bag and turned it on. And during the few seconds of booting, Hagana let loose a fully drawn arrow. What's this? Are you an idiot? True, I probably was the one being an idiot. Looking at me, she shrugged, like that it was totally impossible for her to comprehend. I really wanted to make her cry uncle someday, but I couldn't figure out where to start. Reeling in my impotent anger, I searched for clothing shops like I was her servant. And then, as I started at the computer screen, I realized the moment to make her cry uncle might be coming up sooner than I thought. Here, I found it. Okay. Looking at Hagana nonchalantly answering me, I chuckled to myself. Yeah, now I wonder what these shops would is find. Anyway. On the computer screen were arrayed various shops that sold the clothes that had been thrown away in the White Belt and Newton City on the cheap. There was one store that stood out among the rest. This was probably talking about this store, I guess. As long as I used the magical word, Hagana wouldn't say no. Over here. Leading Hagana, I went up the stairs and traversed an aerial corridor that spanned the shopping streets. This aerial corridor connected hallways between buildings, and each floor contained one walkway lined with shops. I stood in front of one shop as I looked down at the stream of crowds. The shop was carved out of the cliff wall that the building was leaning against. It was a common way to save money on construction costs. However, what made me smile with satisfaction was that I had wondered that the shop would have this type of appearance. Fancy Mall Luna, magical fashion. The sign was written in a cringe-worthy font that would make most people faint. Inside the store were fantastic things that one would wonder who'd ever want to try on. It would be the antithesis of the mouth-flowing Hagana, clad in the bag from head to toe. The store was full of apparel with polka dots and garlic strips of dyed in colors that would make people's eyes bleed. On either side of the entrance was a mountain of red plastic hair clips and strange, seemingly useless wooden badges. I have decided when I realized that all the goods here were something profitable to someone. Whether they were shipped from Earth or made with the limited resources of the moon. I really felt the weight of the fact that not everyone doing business on the moon was an upstanding person. Just by peering into the shop, one could see many girls with their heads in the clouds. If the black-clad Hagana were to step in here, it would be as if a witch had entered the premises. I was chuckling at the imagery when Hagana came to a stop and placed her hand on the door handle. I had totally thought she'd be intimidated and was truly shocked at her composure. If Ed Hagana opened the door, then turned around and asked me, "What? You think something like this would scare me off?" I ended up imagining her saying that to me, then faced with her cold gaze. Hmm. I personally kind of feel like Hagana don't really bothering about clothes and stuff. Hmm. Well, but then again, says something about bugs and clothes, so who knows? However, this might still just be her acting out. Nothing? I answered, pretending nothing was wrong. I see. Hagan gave an easy reply and went into the shop. But as she was about to close the door, she looked up as if she forgotten something and turned around. "You're not coming? Huh? Didn't Liz say to buy the clothes at this store?" "Ah, yeah. But it doesn't look like where I'd be able to shop. I might break out in hives if I actually went into the store." After listening to me, Hagan looked back and forth between me and the shop and tilted her head. "Then I also want to shop where you'd be able to shop." "Huh? You'd be able to get a discount if we all bought at the same place." Such a lively line made me pause, but I was more at a loss for words due to how terribly logical this was. In either case, it looked like my Tina's plan to make Hagan dress up in embarrassing pink and white polka dot apparel wasn't going to go well. You wouldn't believe how good it would make me feel to see Hagana all embarrassed in front of such fancy clothing. Not wanting to lose a chance at that enjoyment, and tried to make excuses. "No, well, but you see, I don't care if it's a male clothing. If the clothing go with you, there'll be no issues or of it not working for me." Hagana with her graceful face and slim hands and feet stood up straight and proclaimed earnestly. With that, there was no way I could form a rebuttal. It was so bad that I was able to imagine how she'd look dressed up as a boy, and I thought subconsciously that it wouldn't be all that bad. I had been mourning and groaning about this, and had gotten a lot of astonished looks from inside the store as I decided to abandon my prank. Now Lisa would enjoy this prank too if she had learned my scheme. "So, where are you going to shop?" I opened up my computer again and looked for a normal cheap clothing store. She truly was a stout customer. I was in the middle of searching for shops while swearing in my head when "Miss Hagana!" I heard someone call out. Hmm. I looked up and turned in the direction of the voice, and in the aerial corridor, two or three floors below, there were a few people around Chris' edge who appeared to be elementary school students. They were full of excitement, looking up at us. "What the?" As I was whispering to myself, a brown-haired girl I happened to make eye contact with got all bubbly, cupped her hands over her mouth, and whispered to the kid next to her. "Friends of yours?" I asked Hagana, and she replied quietly, "Students." "Oh, goodbye, Miss Hagana." And then the gossiping girls gave us big waves and big smiles. Okay, obviously, girl thinking that they on the date. There were um, There were incongruously two boys next to them who were struck dumb with amazement as they looked our way. When the girls pulled the dumbstruck boys by the ears and brought them with them, disappearing into an alley by the building on the opposite side. Haha, what's with that? I said that a little confused, but then I looked at Hagano and was even more surprised. She was waving back at them with a light smile. What? However, once she noticed me looking at her, that smile vanished. I could say there was an unfair difference in attitude, but it's not like I was actually flustered by her smile. I was just totally shocked at how her expression became so gentle once she started smiling. Nothing. I suppressed my excitement, telling myself that it was only because it looked nice. And then, once I had regained my composure, I spoke. I was surprised to see that you really are a teacher. It wasn't wrong to say what I was surprised at that, and it wasn't a lie. She was something alright. Those kids didn't look like the type who'd listen to her, but they'd all become adoring fans. At least it was something I couldn't do. It's just teaching math, so when I could at least do it. I was again surprised at her unusual modesty. And looking at her strangely proud expression made me wonder if she was a bit embarrassed. However, that's the only thing, huh? Looking off into the distance in the direction where the kids disappeared, she whispered, "That's the only thing I can do." What do you mean? Being able to do that is pretty good, isn't it? I replied innocently, and Hagana shut her eyes and then slowly opened them. Math isn't something that can solve the real problems of the world. Hmm? I had ended up staring at her profile without noticing. Normally, she'd glare back at me with a what, but she merely glimpsed at me for a second, then continued looking far off into the distance. Perhaps she was just talking to herself. It was probably the case. Sold for her talents and brought to the moon, she had decided to run away from home for some reason. Plus, Lisa had talked a bit about Chris' circumstances. She was smart, loved to learn, and would skip out on lunch to earn money to pay for her tuition with Hagana and learn math from her. However, despite all that, it wasn't clear that whether she'd be able to get into college with a scholarship. That could easily be the biggest gamble of her life, one that could bring her out of poverty. Hagana most likely knew about Chris' family situation, and thus, with that problem in front of her, it must have been painfully obvious to her how little power her mouth had on everything. Therefore, while looking at her from her side, I could feel my heartbeat rising faster as well. In my head was the idea of using buff to trace talks. On the rare chance that Hagana could accomplish that, she'd probably also be able to solve a lot of problems that have been troubling her. I reflected upon Hagana's expression as she waved cheerfully back to her fond students. From my personal viewpoints, Hagana would simply be an annoying person. However, in reality, that might not be the case. And if that were the case, I was about to ask her something and drew in a big breath. But at that moment, Hagana suddenly turned towards me. "Mm, did you find the shop?" Ah, I kinda was hoping what they gonna talk about it. Uh, but okay. Having been asked straight up, I swallowed my words and returned my gaze quickly to the computer. Ah, yeah. Where? Before I could answer, Hagana appeared at my computer screen with her usual squinting eyes. I guess it's around here. And then she walked off. Ah, my vision chased after Hagana, and I was about to say something, but nothing came out. Had totally screwed up the timing. I stood there dumbfounded. Hagan, who had gotten to the edge of the street of the step leading down, turned around to look over my way. Why are you coming? Upon those words, I shut my computer like a obedient kid. Hagan, playing the part of the parent, shook her head back arrogantly and started walking again. I didn't really have to force myself to broach the subject. I should just find an opportunity to talk to her about it after I get back to the church. Having made my decision, I went to catch up to Hagana. Mm. Why is something of this level of craftsmanship 20 moves apiece? She had grabbed a piece of clothing from my arms, set it on the counter, and spat those words out. The clerk, who had been fixing a frayed spot on some item, looked up at Hagana confusedly. Hmm. Huh? Why is it that the clothes over here are better made from better materials and now they are 20 moves for two pieces? Hmm? Hmm. I had chosen a used hoodie that cost 20 moves. On the month which relied on importing all sorts of things, clothing was far more expensive than food. Grains had priority over cotton and help in the limited sized fields on the moon. You wouldn't die from being naked if the orbital elevator were to stop working and clog up imports, but you could die of hunger. Um, Therefore, and for used apparel, 20 moons a piece wasn't exactly that expensive. Besides, it was in plenty good condition. It was probably leftovers from mass retailers in the White Belt and Newton City. However, Hagan put even more pressure on the store clerk. Did this get the wrong price tag? No. This is a brand name item, and was the higher price. But something from the same manufacturer there was in that section from 10 moons apiece. But that one's short sleeved. This one's long sleeves, so it's used more fabric. Then why is this three-quarter sleeved item the same price? There's no consistency here. The clerk was taken aback by Hagan's words, stared at her, and then sighed annoyingly. Look, are you trying to tell me to lower the price? Yes. Well, we don't give discounts here. That's odd. And now you have a discount asile. Those are on discount because it works out for us. I got it. We weren't coming here today to just buy this. We also came here to buy this. Saying this, Hagana took out what was apparently clothing for herself from the shopping basket by her feet and placed them on the counter. What left me dumbfounded was the fact that in the basket there were a black blouse, a black short, and a pair of black stockings. We appreciate your business. How much cheaper would they be together? No, we really don't do discounts. Our margins are already paper thin. Then why do you discount stuff you couldn't sell? Well, they're leftovers, so... Well, then think of it this way. If we don't buy this stuff, it'll remain unsold and become leftovers. That was some ridiculous logic. Surprisingly, the clerk thought it was sorry. Surprisingly, the clerk thought it as ridiculous as I did. Look, we priced this at 20 moons because we believe it would sell at this price. When we announce a price drop to 10 moons, you can come back and buy it then. There's a chance it would get sold before then. Therefore, I'd like to buy it in advance by adding 3 moons to the 10 moons discount price. Okay. The clerk pulled back and looked down at Hagana while twisting his lips. I looked at the two somewhat nervously. Didn't I say this was a pretty good item? It will sell for 20. And now something similar in the discount aisle. Like I said, that's different manufacturer. There were also stuff from the same manufacturer. No, those weren't hoodies, you know? There were also hoodies. I'm saying those were a different manufacturer. It was quite obvious Hagana intentionally brought the conversation back to square one, hoping to win through attrition. To be honest, I was kind of anxious, not knowing when the clerk would explode. However, I thought he was a grown man. It looked like he had gotten used to the moon gravity from his build. There'd be no way I'd lose to him if we were to get into a fight. This was making me actions was something much simpler. The problem was that going this far would net us a discount of at most 10 moons or so. The situation had already gotten volatile, and it would be ridiculous to never be able to come here again over a mere 10 moons. Look, if you have a problem with it, buy elsewhere. The clerk had finally snapped. Hagana stared fixedly at the man who was far taller than her. I'll make sure to remember the fact that such and such store clerk told me that. Yeah. As by looking at the second block's shopping center, stores were obviously a dim a dozen. Everyone's struggling to survive, so it's not surprising that even a bit of a bad reputation could be fatal. Hagana trusted it at the sales clerk loudly. Coldly. Okay, fine, 50 moves. She made it sound like she had given up. The clerk put his hand on his forehead and looked down as if he had just met some alien who couldn't understand him. And then suddenly he looked up. He had totally thought a fight was going to break out, but the clerk simply replied with a grimace. Okay, I get it. How about 70? Okay. Shish. I've never been such a route haggling before. I could totally understand how exploited the clerk felt. Going through all that just to save 3 months was unfathomable to me. I mean, it's kinda interesting to see difference in towns between Haru, who has actually a lot of money, and Hagana, who probably don't really has money at all. At least not a lot. So yeah. Here I thought I was shameless, but this turn of events showed me how surprisingly naive I was. Rather than pushing it to the explosive confrontation with a toddler just to save 3 months, I'd rather eat the 3 months with a smile. Making no efforts to hide the fact that he was dealing with an annoying customer, he took the items from the cart and started ringing them up. And then Hagan spoke up steadily. Well, I do think that there's a possibility that these sour items would receive a discount. Huh? Both the store clerk and I rolled our eyes at Hagana. Hagana instantly looked back and said, furthermore, I run a private tutoring service, and my students are talkative and growing fast. Do you understand what that means? Her silent message scared the clerk. If this went well, he'd get few customers. If this went poorly, a bad reputation would spread. This was a big deal for one person shop caught in a lose-lose situation. Finally, the clerk looked at me with supplication. But you're going to push it onto me. And after I thought that, Hagana broke his silence with her clear voice. Take a for 5 months of the total price. It wasn't an impossible compromise. The clerk's lips was quivering, as if he'd bawl out Hagana any moment now. And then thought he lowered his head and gave Hagana some total of 8 mul discount. I was dead tired going out of the store. Rather than receiving a thankful gesture upon exciting, we received a hate-filled stare telling us to never come back again. But Hagana acted as if nothing happened. Right after exiting the store, she asked me for my money. uh, 33 moves. Since she has gone with the flow and paid for everything, there was no issue with her asking for payment. But after having to watch all that haggling, I kept thinking I should be the one asking for compensation for mental distress. What? Nothing. Not having the guts to really say anything, I was about to pay her the 33 moves she wanted, but then I noticed something. 33 moves? What? Isn't that odd? What I bought was a 20 moves hoodie, with shirts for a total of 80 moves and 3 moves tower, right? Together they should be in 41 moves. Just subtract 8 moves from that. That's what she said, but it gave me pause. No, I'm definitely paying you the 41 moves. I had exactly 2 20 moves bills and 1 move bill, so I gave them all to Hagana. 33 moves is enough. So is Hagana actually do it to Hal since she thinks what Haru don't really work. So she probably expect him don't have a lot of money. Anyway. She stubbornly refused to take more than that. Weren't you the one who haggled down the price? I didn't do a thing. Regardless, just 33 moves is fine. What the hell? I looked at Hagana a bit phased. This was like winning the lottery for pocket change. I can't pay you the full price. You can't. Why not? Hagana remained silent and turned away with a sour look. Sighing, I took the 41 moves and showed it in her bag. Ah, it's not like I'm sweating over the small change like that. Besides, that haggling was going overboard, you know? I stopped Hagana's hand from taking the bills back out. However, I didn't stop talking. I felt bad for the clerk, and we wouldn't be able to go back again. That place sure had good prices according to reviews on the net. Scratching my head, I looked toward the entrance of the store. In Japan, where my parents came from, I heard that you'd throw salt then annoying customer leaves the store. I was half expecting the clerk to come out and holding a jar of salt at any moment now. Looking at the big picture, didn't we lose out in the end? Besides, shouldn't you at least learn about the feeling of... Hmm. When I got to that point in my speech, there was a loud grrr sound and I found myself doubled over on the ground, clutching my shins. That hurt. What the hell are you doing? I was about to call her a bitch, but then totally froze. Normally, were I to get kicked out of the blue, I'd fight back and throw my attack on the ground with me on top. Meanwhile, he'd be grinding, falling, and getting the crap beaten out of him. However, in this case, I couldn't even get up. Hmm? It was because Hagana was looking down at me, with eyes about to let loose the thorns of the nail. So, okay. Yeah, she's definitely was thinking what she doing it's for her, or for him. So, hmm, anyway. Huh? My head was swimming even more so then when I got kicked suddenly, I had no clue what I should say. Like an idiot, I looked her right in the eyes, from which tears would start flowing any moment. What realized me from my paralysis was Hagana wiping her eyes brusquely, turning her on her heel and walking away. I didn't have any time to stop her. I tried hardly to get up, but my shins hurt like crazy, and I couldn't lift my foot, causing me to tumble over. My mind was wandering over whether my legs were broken, but my eyes were fixed on Hagana. Through the breaks in the fences, I saw her going down the stairs and throttling across the aerial corridor. The passerby all did a double take, and Hagana was wiping her eyes with her sleeves while running. She was crying, but I had no idea why. Hmm. I wonder if she's trying to do it like if she was thinking it's a good thing to do because she has a lot of poor students who don't really have money to stuff, or maybe it should do it because she are now a runaway kid, and I guess she probably had problems with money before she started working. Well, she probably still has problems with money, but anyway, it's quite obviously what she was trying to do a good thing for Haru. Mm, it's hard to say. I don't feel like Haru completely wrong here, but still. Anyway, what the heck? Why did I have to get kicked in the shins? And why was she the one crying? Being the pain and the confusion, I somehow managed to get up. I fixed my back on my back. It was then what I noticed. There were mouse bills scattered all over the corridor. It was the 41 moves I shot in her back. I sighed while picking up the crumpled bills and stuffing them back in my pocket. Hmm. What the heck just happened? My shins were in pain, and the sun was setting. Hmm. I don't want to continue reading. We kinda already read just 1 hour what we usually make streams. Hmm. And I don't know how long will be next scene. Hmm. Like, hmm, I feel like it's not a bad point to stopping. Uh, I kind of want to continue. Uh, okay, let's uh, let's stop here. Uh, let's save. I don't know why I making so much saves, but anyway. Oh, open play. Next World End Economic stream will be on Sunday. Um, but for now, goodbye. Have a nice time of the day.